Hi everyone, thank you so much for coming back to my YouTube channel. My name is Lydia. I am your money mentor online. Today is a time-sensitive issue, which is why I'm hopping on to do this as quickly as possible. I was listening to somebody today and I realized that the right to buy is changing. So this is no surprise for people who have been following the election in the UK and everything associated with it. This was on the Labour manifesto, but bottom line, there are some major changes coming to the right to buy in the next 1 week. So ladies and gentlemen, this is time sensitive, so just bear this in mind. On the 21st of November 2024, what is happening is the caps associated with the right to buy, the discount caps, are changing significantly. They are being reduced a lot. So I'm saying this because if you're living in a council home and you watched this video that I put out a few weeks ago, I talked about one of the easy ways for people of color or black people to actually gain wealth is to buy a home. And I mentioned that if you haven't bought your council flat, now is a good time. What I did say in that last video was, if, for example, you know that there are major works coming down the line, don't buy your property. I'm taking that back. Taking that back because right now, the discounts that you could get as a council tenant who has lived on the council property for a certain length of time or lived in a council property for a certain length of time are changing. So, for example, this is going to vary from different parts of the country. It might be different up north and completely different down south, but it's important that you know. What used to be was that you would probably get up to, in the London area, £136,400 as a discount. That is a massive amount of money. That's literally a huge chunk of the value of the property that is being created and made available to you as equity. Okay? Now, what's going to happen after the 21st of November, 2024? Well, that discount can go from 136,400 all the way down to between 16 and 38,000. Now, for some people, you're going to say, it was never my money. But ladies and gentlemen, it can be. Equity in property is real money. So you would have to live in the property for a certain length of time beyond the purchase date. However, that money could be yours as equity. What is equity? Equity is the difference between the price you buy the property and the value of the property. Let's say, for example, the house is worth £100,000, okay? But you buy it for £50,000 because you get a discount because of your right to buy. The right to buy says, I've lived in the property for 3 or more years, and therefore I've paid rent to the council. That will be taken into consideration. Now, if the difference between the value and the price that you pay is large enough, even if it's £1,000, it is equity. You can't spend equity because it's not cash, but you can sell a property and that becomes cash, liquidates the property for you. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is really important. If, for example, you've lived in a property for over 3 years, and many of us have lived in council properties for a lot longer, what that means is you are losing potentially tens of thousands of pounds. Remember, that number that I originally showed you was 136,400. So as little as 38,000. That is a massive amount of money. Okay. So I'm not scaremongering, but this is important. A few things I want to highlight for you. If you can buy your property, buy it. Okay. The first thing you need to know is that equity is money. It's not money you can spend, but it's money you can definitely have as part of your wealth. Your wealth. Okay. The second thing I wanted to point out is you need to understand the numbers. If you can buy the property today, I'm not saying you have to buy it absolutely today, but if you put in the application to exercise your right to buy, you will not lose out. And my recommendation is that you put in that application today, okay? Because I bet you if you leave it until the 21st, a week from now, what's going to happen? Well, the system's going to be down, or you won't have time to mail it, and you would procrastinate, and you could potentially lose a massive amount of money. So the first thing you want to do is put in the application. Even if you don't buy the property, you have nothing to lose. Nothing. But you have a lot to gain. So that's the first thing. You have nothing to lose. Fill in the paperwork. Put in the application. I have told people, if you can, fill in the physical document, send it by registered mail, and then fill it in online. So at that point, you have full proof evidence that you submitted your application before the deadline. That's the first thing, fill in the paperwork. The second thing I want to suggest is that you know the numbers, okay? When you put in the application, what happens next? The council will come out and they will value the property that you live in, okay? That's the first step. Once they value it, the next thing that will happen is the bank will come out and value that property. Sometimes the value from the bank comes in lower, and you're going to go with that value because they are the one putting up the money for the mortgage. Okay, that's the second thing you need to know. Know the numbers. Once they value, understand whose valuation is correct. The third thing that you want to know is even if you don't have the money for the deposit, some banks, and that's not all of them, some banks will accept the discount that the council gave you as part of your deposit. Part or all of your deposit. So don't think I can't afford to put a deposit down. Just remember, this is an option, okay? I think the next thing that you need to remember is the potential that you could, if you need a deposit, get it given as a gift. So if someone in your family wants to help you up onto the property ladder, they can actually gift you a portion of that money for your deposit if you need one. And that could also be used as a portion of your deposit. The next item I want to point out is if someone loans you some money towards making a deposit, that is actually a reduction to how much you can borrow from the bank. This affects your affordability of the property in question. So if someone loans you the money that you need to get onto the property ladder, in this particular circumstance, it actually reduces the availability of lending to you from a normal bank. Why? Because the bank is saying you still have to pay that person back, and then you have to pay the bank back. So that gets you in a situation where you have a little bit more to pay, and therefore the bank will lend you less. So I know this is a lot of information, but I wanted to point this out. You literally have 7 days to put in an application to buy your property. All I'm asking is, if you can, fill in the paperwork. That's a great place to start. If you haven't done this already, do it now. The deadline is 7 days away. That is going to change. So you want to make sure that you actually do that now. If you know somebody who lives in a council property who hasn't acquired it yet or hasn't bought it yet, please, please, please forward this video to them so they know what to do. It's a great place to start in terms of building your wealth. If you live in that property for up to 3 years, you can then decide to rent that property out because there you have the right to do that. In the meantime, you have to live in that property at least for 3 years post the purchase date. Now, there's so much more to understand about right to buy. Remember, the numbers that I shared vary from different places. Up north might be less, down south might be more. Just go to your local council and ask the question. Ask the question, what do I need to do to exercise my right to buy my council property? That is the starting point. Number 2, fill in the paperwork. Once you fill in the paperwork, talk to a mortgage broker. Now, be careful who you talk to and don't pay any money up front. But talk to a mortgage broker who understands the right to buy process so you can actually maybe have a conversation about it. And then if possible, go ahead and complete and buy your property. That is it. It is quite simple, but guys, it is so crucial. I talked about the fact that we lose out on opportunities because we don't know. This is knowledge being handed to you on a platter. Please, please, please make use of this information. Share it with your friends and your family who live in council properties. Encourage them to go ahead and exercise their right to buy. Even if they don't want to do it right now, exercise that right to buy and benefit from it today. Okay, everyone, that's all I wanted to say. And I ask only 3 things of you before I hang up today. The first one is that you like this video. The second is that you subscribe to my channel. The third, and this is the most important one today, share this video so people don't lose out on tens of thousands of pounds in equity that they have paid rent for the last many, many years. Okay, everyone, if you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. I am here to help, and I will do my best to answer those questions as best as possible. And I will see you in the next one.